Everyone, back to channel. Today we are going to see the Clostridium tetani. We are going to see the three Clostridias, that is Clostridia tetani, Clostridia perfringens and Clostridia botulinum. In this video we are going to see the Clostridium tetani. So actually they are the gram positive large rods because they are bacillus and strictly anaerobic. They do not require oxygen, so that is nothing but obligatory anaerobes. And they are spore forming. The position of spore is useful to identify the species, and many kinds of exotoxins and also invasive enzymes are highly pathogenic, which are caused by this tetani. Actually the Clostridium tetani was first isolated by the Rosen batch from a cause of a tetanus, that is a kitazo. It is isolated in a pure culture and reproduced disease in the experimental animal. Actually, as it is an anaerobe, it is very hard to grow in the culture, so we just isolate it from the wound or the site of infection. And these are, you can see, they are like rod like, drumstick like shape, round terminal spores. These are the round, they produce the round terminal spores. Property, actually we use the blood agar mostly here, and also we use the Robertson cooked meat medium and also thioglycerate broth. Actually why we are using blood agar is because they are swarming, spreading type of growth, and they show both alpha hemolysis and beta hemolysis, that is also complete hemolysis and a partial hemolysis. And the agar stab culture, that is the frittery appearance it gives. And the RCM is nothing but Robertson cooked meat medium, even that we use, which become turbid, and meat is not digested but becomes slightly blackened and showing slight proteolytic effect. They show only the slight proteolytic effect. See, they are like larger filaments and they are motile by peritrichous flagellae. Peritrichous, if you remember, they'll be all over the body except the type 7. Because the type 7 are non-flagellates. We are going to see what is the type. Actually they are according to the serological types, and they are non-capsulated. If you see, there is no capsule on it, and they are sporing. Of course, spore is formed in the terminal and they are spherical bulgings. And next, the spores gives a drumstick appearance to the bacilli. So this is all we know. And next we have some resistance. Actually these spores remain alive in the soil or dust for several decades, so that is why they are very much resistant, and they are able to cause many infections. And the vegetative forms are killed at 100 degrees centigrade for 1 hour. And what are the biochemical reactions which takes place, we need to know it. That is, they are proteolytic in nature. They doesn't attack any sugars. They form the indole, and they are methyl red and Vox pracker and citrate negative. And the H2S is not formed, and the gelatin liquefaction is also negative, and the nitrate reduction is also negative. So these are the some of the biochemical reactions. And as we know, as it is resistant, then can they be killed? Yes, they can be killed by boiling for 10 to 15 minutes, and also by autoclaving, by destruction of the spores. And the spores are resistant to most antiseptics. 1% iodine and hydrogen peroxide can kill the spores in the few hours. So the pathogenesis is, the spores are widespread in soil in the form of spore. The entry is usually at the wound site, because wound site is like anaerobic conditions. So the germination of spores is favored by the necrotic tissue. As you know, necrotic tissue is a dyed and debris like tissue where there is good conditions for this bacteria. And the poor blood supply in the wound, or the wound is deep and dirty. How the tetani can be actually classified is based on the flagellar antigens. That is, you know, in flagella there is a H antigen. So based on that we are typing them into 10 serotypes by the agglutination reaction. So these 10 types are named as from 1 to 10 groups, except the 6th group, because the 6th group are the non-flagellated strains. And next, the toxins. The toxins produced by this tetanus are the tetanolysin and the tetanospasmin. Actually, this tetanospasmin is a neurotoxin, which is a very dangerous toxin which makes our muscles spasm. They are unable to move. So why this happens is because of the neurotransmitters, where this get and block those neurotransmitters, so that the nerve impulse cannot reach our muscles and they get spasm. So the tetanus toxin is an exotoxin produced by the tetani, which binds to the receptors and prevent the muscle relaxation and cause the strong and persistent muscle contraction. So this is the reason. And the clinical findings, the chest muscles are persistent contraction leading to sometimes respiratory failures and death. So because of this, if this takes place in our all over the body, sometimes in our chest region, then it will be leading to breathing problems. And if it takes place in our mouth, it is like clogged mouth. So all these are taking place because of tetanus. And these toxins, that is a tetanolysin, is a heat liable and oxygen labile, so it can't be destroyed easily, and they're antigenically related to the oxygen labile hemolysin, especially produced by species of Clostridium welchi and also Clostridium edematans. And the tetanospasmin is also heat labile and oxygen stable powerful neurotoxin which is protein in nature basically and hence destroyed by the proteolytic enzymes. So it is plasmid coated and it is also heterodimer structure and has a large polypeptide chain in the smaller polypeptide chain. So it has both large and small polypeptide chain, and these both chains are linked together by a disulfide bond. So this is which is making it antigenic and specifically neutralized by the antitoxin, so it can be toxoided. How the baby is affected, because you can see the lockjaw. The lockjaw is mainly due to, you can see the lockjaw. This lockjaw is mainly due to the contraction of jaw muscles which prevents the mouth from opening. In adults also it may cause when it leads, when this disease takes place in all over the body, it may even break our bones. To know the conditions where the tetanus infection may develop, the conditions are like injury, unsterile injections, dirty particles, application of cow dung on umbilical stumps, rituals like circumcision, ear boring. For earrings we put ear holes here, so if we use some unseptic it may also lead to this, and septic abortion. And the predisposing factors are contamination of wound by spores of tetanus in anaerobic conditions favoring them, like destruction of necrosis of tissue, lackage of drainage in the area, presence of foreign bodies, infection with some other bacteria. So the mechanism of disease development, first let us see what is the mechanism of disease. First, the disease from the wound contaminated by the spores and germinated multiplication. Next, production of neurotoxin, that is we know that tetanospasmin may be tetanolysine. And next, the toxin reaches the central nervous system through the nerves and fixes the gangliosides to the gray matter and blocks the synaptic inhibition in the spinal cord. So this causes the uncontrolled spread of the impulse in the central nervous system, results in the muscle rigidity and also causing the spasms. So the laboratory diagnosis, no microbiological or serological, only organism is isolated from the wounded site. Features, actually the incubation period is up to 6 to 12 days and the experimental tetanus is of 3 types, that is the local, ascending and descending. The local type is causing the spasm only at this particular site of the injection or any unsterile using of that thing, and the ascending type spreads to the spinal cord from the local site, and the descending type resembles natural tetanus. So when the toxin is injected intravenously, that is by our veins, the spasm develops in the head, neck and spreads downwards too. So the tonic muscle spasm at the site of infection becomes generalized. And the spastic paralysis also involves the jaw muscles, that is we already saw the picture, locked jaw. And the other types of tetanus are like tetanus neonatorum, uterine tetanus and also otogenic tetanus. And we can also do the toxigenicity testing for this tetanus, that is by horse blood agar. We use horse blood agar in a medium so that it has some antitoxins against it, so it kills it. But this is not reliable because it is from the another product, not itself from the tetanus. But if we take the toxigenicity testing by animal inoculation, because as we are injecting the same species to the animal, so it produces its own toxins, that is tetanospasmin, so which is produced by pathological strains, hence it is reliable. So only animal inoculation is reliable process. And the treatment strategy, here we will see the prevention. Though the debridement hydrogen peroxide solution, tetanus immune globin, which is very important, the tetanus antitoxin is used to neutralize the toxin, and the tetanus toxoid is given to the children and soldiers. And the treatment, the tetanus immunoglobulin, tetanus antitoxin, the rod is sensitive to penicillin, which can be used to control the infection together with the muscle relaxant. So even penicillin can be used, and also metronidazole can be used, which is an antibacterial therapy actually. And we also use TIG, that is nothing but human anti-tetanus immunoglobulin, in the control of the spores formation and control of spas, and we should maintain the air by tracheostomy and retention of feeding. So the full course of active immunization should be given to the patients and recovery from the tetanus. And surgically we can do it by removal of a foreign body necrotic tissue, blood clots, because these are the sites where there may be a chance of formation of tetanus. And also antibiotic prophylaxis should be administered in 4 hours, may destroy the inhibit the bacilli, and the toxic production is prevented. And the penicillin and tetracycline are mostly effective. Bacitracin or neomycin also applied locally, that is only local areas. And immunization may be the active, passive and combined. In the active immunization, actually the formal toxide as like triple vaccine can be given. for 3 doses, and the passive immunization we give anti-tetanus serum, which is human anti-tetanus immunoglobulin, which is recommended only in the non-immune persons at the risk at only, and also only once it is given, because it is somewhat dangerous to our other parts also. So the disadvantages of this ATS, that is anti-tetanus serum, is immune elimination and hypersensitivity. So this is a disadvantage of this. And the combined immunization is nothing but TIG, that is the tetanus antitoxin on one hand and the toxide on another side hand, followed by the second and third dose of toxine. This is the combined immunization. So this is all about tetanus.